Hi, everyone. I want to come out with a video based on some information that I received from Justin and Michelle of Gillette, Wyoming. They went on site to check out that cross again that was in their drone video, and they came back with some information. And basically, that cross has been there since 2010, October, and is a memorial to Amanda Peterson, who's a 31-year-old hiker, rock climber, I guess, and she fell to her death here in October. I think it was October 17th of 2010. So this cross has been here for quite a long time. So basically, she was discovered a few days later. It's a really sad event. I thank again Justin and Michelle for taking the time and going back there. And also, I want to warn anybody: it's very dangerous to go around there in in the winter time. But a lot of people, of course, go out in the winter. They ski, they do all kinds of sports, and they hike. I mean, time doesn't stop just because there's snow on the ground. But in certain areas, it's dangerous. So unless you have a lot of experience out there, like these locals do, I really wouldn't suggest going there. And at least now we know for a fact what that cross is. And so after taking note of that and doing some research on the time when it happened, I just want to point out that that leaves an issue because Forrest Fenn was in Cody, Wyoming on the week of the 22nd through the 25th of September in 2010. He was at the Cody Rendezvous Royale. We know for a fact that he was there. There's a video that shows him and Peggy there. That video was shot in September of 2010, but it wasn't put on YouTube until March in 2011. But we know for sure that he was there. Now, many people assume that he hid the treasure in 2009 and he went back to Wyoming to kind of check on it a year later, and then he decided that he was going to go ahead with everything. And then, of course, he released the Thrill of the Chase on October 25th. So the treasure hunt officially began October 25th, 2010, when Forrest Fenn published Thrill of the Chase. That was the official day that it started. Now, this woman passed away the week prior to that. So to me, this indicates that the chest was probably not at that exact position where that cross is, because I don't know if Forrest would have went ahead and still continued if he did hide it there, knowing that a woman just passed away a week earlier. And if he did hide it prior to October 17th, 2010, you would think that the rescue workers would have found it up there on that side of the wall. So unfortunately, that spot in those trees is not a likely spot anymore. I still believe that the solve is correct, okay? But I just don't believe now that it could be at that spot. So one of the things that for example, my ending interpretation of no paddle up your creek could mean that we're not supposed to go upstream, we're supposed to go downstream away from heavy loads and water high. Now I just don't know. I mean, nobody knows other than Jack, because he's the one who actually retrieved the treasure chest. It's still possible that the sun would come down. Maybe by cold, he's actually saying that you have to cross the creek. So maybe you don't even have to go up near the upper falls. It could be in this shadowed area, or, even, who knows, even down around here. We don't know. I mean, the sun is going to come in and shine right down here. But I no longer believe that the treasure was up here just based on the research that we now know of the cross. So I still believe in the solve. It works. It's straightforward. It's very simple. There's no trickery. But once again, the ending is probably wrong. I no longer believe that it could be up in those trees. Where? Who knows? There's no point in going there now. Um, the couple did tell me that they're going to go back probably in the spring and look around some more. And I kind of told them that I might still do some research, but honestly, I mean, at this point, I don't really know. This is all based on research that I've already done, and I still believe that this solve is correct. It's just that it's not here; it's somewhere else. It was somewhere else in here. But what am I researching? The big problem is that there's no treasure there. So it's going to be extremely hard to figure out where the spot was. Um, this spot, I was basing it on the sun and across from the falls. But like I said, that doesn't seem likely. So I don't really know, how much research there is left to do. All we can say at this point is hopefully Jack comes out with something. But I wanted to put this video out there just to update you guys that we do know what that cross was, and it doesn't have anything to do with Fenn. I didn't think it had anything to do with Fenn either because he's not going to put something that obvious where he hit the chest. And I said that in my previous video. I thought that was put there either by a prankster or maybe it was put there by the finder. We didn't know. Well, now we know because we have a close-up picture of that cross. We know what it was for. So it could still be that the whole sob is right and you go up to the end of this trail, but instead of going up the lower falls and up to the upper falls, perhaps it's farther down away from the lower falls in this wooded area that's in the shade, shoved under the canyon wall. I don't know. Like I said, now it's all snow. There's no point in going there, but maybe we'll find out some more in the spring. I don't know. As I said, at this point, even at this spot here, it was unlikely that we were going to be able to find anything because there are holes from animals all over the place in the Rockies. There's no way you're going to distinguish a hole that the chest was in. And this whole bronze sniffing dog theory is just a bunch of crap. There is no such thing. It's utterly ridiculous. So there's no way to prove it other than having, somebody in Forrest's family, if they know, prove it. Having Jack come out with a solution would be the best option. And frankly, even if he did come out with a solution, I think people aren't going to believe him because who is alive to contest it? He can pretty much come out now and say that it was anywhere. And there's nobody that's going to contradict him because Forrest is dead. Now he can come out and say whatever he wants. So people are probably still not going to believe him. I would like to know, just for closure, who was close? Were we not close? I still believe that my solve is correct, but it wasn't over here. It was somewhere down here. And that's the thing, and I'm basing that on the fact that the solve is really solid all the way up to here. I mean, it takes me here, and I explain that. But there's always that ending spot because there's no blaze that we could see. And if you combine that with, if Jack is correct, that the blaze is the sun, in my opinion, that gets you down here. But there's another blaze that you had to see that was above the chest. And according to Jack, it was destroyed. So now we have no chest and the possibility that the blaze that was boots on the ground is destroyed and gone due to natural activity. So I don't know how in the world we're going to prove where it was. And before I go, I just want to mention one thing. Um, Many of you are familiar with a searcher who's been searching since, I think, 2011. His name is Eugene Tellis, and he posts online as Gay Delkin, Geydelkon. I know most of his solution. I talk to him a lot on the phone. He's an extremely nice guy. And really, he's got a lot of interviews and stuff in the process. And I hope he comes out with his solve because if you take everybody that's in the chase, a lot of people believe it was somewhere near Cody. But if you want to kind of get an expert on Cody, somebody who's familiar with the chase and Cody, and there is nobody that I know that knows more about, especially the Buffalo Bill Center of the West, other than Eugene. Like I said, the stuff that he tells me is just amazing. And if it wasn't for my own solve, I'm almost convinced that his solution is correct. And like I said, I don't want to get into it. That's his gig, but there is nobody out there in this chase, including, forget about Cynthia, K-Pro, and Cal Lazars, not because they're bad, but if you want to discuss Cody, the person you want to discuss it with is Eugene. by far, he knows more about what goes on there. We'll see what happens next summer if anything goes on, and I'll certainly keep you informed if Justin and Michelle go back out there in the spring and they find anything interesting. So until then, have a safe and warm winter. Remember this.